the money that you got from the fortune, either way you got it, doesn't matter. It can change your life in a way that you may not understand today because it was never a part of your reality. So you may have a big amount that is actually worth for you to change your life, switch your location to another place for you to not have to pay the same amount of taxes that you will be paying moving forward. So, this is another thing you should consider as well because you get a big chunk of the money lost as taxes if you are established in the place that you may be today, but you can possibly change your location and go to live somewhere else because you may have enough money for you to just buy a house in another spot. Maybe worth for you to do this in terms of the money you will not be spending on taxes moving forward. So I will search and drop the information that I can find around this space for you in the description of the video. There's people that are better to provide advice around this specific situation around taxes. I don't really have much knowledge around this. I know there's better places and there's ways you can just be moving between places to allow you to have a residence in a location that benefits of the taxes you're paying. And then you can just be swapping between the locations. There's another possibility as well, which is you can buy a house on a place that is very cheap. So I saw a couple of young people doing this some years ago. They bought for the price of, it was $300,000 or euros. They bought a property on a low developing country. I don't remember exactly the country. I think it was Dominican Republic, but I'm not sure. But they just show image of the property, and for that amount they had a property that, for example, in Portugal, it would be around a couple of millions. So between 1 and 5 million in terms of the property they had there. So this is another possibility that you can do depending on how much you have. Um, Again, I'll drop the information that I can find to be useful for you to research. But around this particular situation, I don't have a specific channel to answer this. I recommend you to search on YouTube for people that did this and probably posted videos as well. But essentially, just for you to have a perception, you can buy a house that is really nice. Okay, it's a really good house in another country that is way cheaper. Of course, you'll be living there, or not, because you can stick to your house in your current place and then you buy the house there potentially. So you can have a place with a luxury house, and then potentially you can choose to pay taxes on the place you benefit the most. But yeah, they decided to do that, Oh, I remember, I think it was in Bali actually, but it was some years ago. And I heard that Bali recently got a lot of attraction, especially on pandemic years. A lot of people start to move there to work. So things are not as cheap today there as it used to be, but it's still cheap. So it's cheaper than Portugal, for example. And Portugal is cheap than most countries in Europe in terms of how much you pay for a house. Taxes is another story. But yeah, so just to open up your possibilities, you have these two situations. You have a way to optimize around taxes and the way to optimize on the place you can live or how much you have to pay for, let's say you want a luxury house on a spot. You can get a really good spot on a low developing country. Of course, the the circumstances to live there are not the same as living in Europe. It's different, okay? You don't have the same systems that we have here. But if that's not a concern for you, you can get a house there way cheaper than here. The price you would pay here for a luxury house is like four times as much as you can pay there. And you can get a top tier house there, very nice. So, I mean, if you dream about having a house like this, you can get it for a third, a fourth of the price you get in another place. So it's also an option for you to consider.